Silver and gold investors are in the battle zone right now, a major battle. Are we going to hold $30 silver? Are we going to hold $2,600 gold? I believe unequivocally that we can and will. And even if we don't, we will see much higher silver and gold prices as we head into the end of the year and throughout 2025. And I'm going to give you the reasons why in this video, because guys, what we're talking about here is an epic battle between real money and fake money. La La Land, Fantasy Land, Fantasy Island, whatever the heck you want to call it, unicorn fart dust. We're talking about an epic battle between silver and gold and fake paper fiat money. Look, today is October 9th, 2024. It's about 12 noon Central Time. A great example for you to realize just how fake everything is later today, we're going to get the FOMC. The Federal Reserve is going to put out their minutes, their notes from their last meeting when they decided to cut rates by 0.5%. It doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter as much as it used to. The Fed has lost a lot of its power over the world economy. It's not 1990. It's not 2007 anymore. It's 2024, and we are living in a completely different world. Geopolitically, politically, the world is bifurcating. We have this little big organization now called the BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, right? Iran, maybe Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia, Egypt, and the United Arab Emirates. The world is changing like never before. The Fed has lost its ability to rule the world financially. Look, I'm not happy about it. I live here in the United States of America, but things change, and they're changing right now. So when we get data later today from the Fed in their minute meeting, sure, it can impact the markets. Absolutely. But it doesn't have the power that it used to. Why? How about this? How about the fact what Jerome Powell has even warned against himself? Other business leaders are sounding the alarm. It's the debt. It's the United States debt. It's absolutely crazy. Let's run out and take a quick look because there's a little surprise. Sergeant Carter, when I went out to the U.S. debt clock, at least we can still see the important number here in the upper left corner. The U.S. national debt quickly now approaching $35.7 trillion. That is the inflation that we're having now has everything to do with that. The inflation that we're going to have in the coming year, 5 years, and 10 years have everything to do with that. The Fed is going to be forced to monetize the debt, to print money, just to keep the interest rates at a reasonable level. It is a debt spiral. It's a debt whirlpool, whatever you want to say. Let me say this about gold and silver. Gold and silver are a link to reality. I heard that Judy Shelton say that the other day. Let's take a look at this, though. It's a secret pop-up window on the U.S. debt clock, and I thought this really, up here, we're going to go out to X, it's going to pull it up for us, really tells us what is going on. The new money revolution. On the left is the Fed banking cartel, wealth extraction, backed by unpayable debt, owned by the federal banking syndicate. On the right, and nothing shows how your purchasing power has gone down. On the right is what they're calling the USA Treasury dividend dollar, where your purchasing power actually would go up. Imagine that. And we're getting off on a little tangent here, basement dwellers, but imagine if your money actually went up in value every year. Oh yeah, that would be called gold and silver, the only forms of real money. But imagine if the whole country got to work on such a system. I know it's a pipe dream, feels like, but is it really? Right? The world has gone from fiat to real money-based systems many times in the past. Imagine if we actually did have true wealth preservation. It would be awesome. So inflation will rule the day. When we worry about this battle that we're in right now in the silver and gold markets, it's temporary. We need to remember Nothing goes straight up. And we're measuring, right? We're measuring silver and gold in fiat US dollars. We're not really considering that what we really own are ounces of silver and or ounces of gold, if that's what you prefer. Inflation will rule the day as we move into this next decade, and gold and silver will keep their value. I believe you and I will be very happy that we own gold and silver. I'm not giving financial advice. Don't make any decisions based on what I'm saying, but I would like to say thank you right now to channel sponsor Pimbex, Pimbex. They check all the boxes, right? Trustworthiness is paramount. I trust Pimbex. I know a lot of the basement dweller community trust Pimbex. You need to do your own due diligence and find out for yourself. But Pimbex is a company we can trust, I believe. I also know they have great selection and very ultra competitive pricing. Please help support channel sponsor Pimbex. The other thing that's really throwing a monkey wrench into the gold and silver price right now is the situation in China. Guys, overnight, the Chinese stock market dropped by 7%. Okay. They didn't quite stimulate the economy like the market was hoping for. So we are hitting a little bump in the road regarding the Chinese stimulus. None of this is going to matter in the long run. The Chinese are talking about stimulating their economy, printing money. Okay, that's exactly what Japan has had to do. That's exactly what the United States is going to have to do. Print money. Look, that 35 trillion debt, 35 trillion 700 billion, I stand corrected, that I showed you earlier, when that grows to 50 trillion, just think about this. $50 trillion. But if interest rates go up, as the market is moving them up right now, the 10-year Treasury bond, last I heard, was above 4% again. If we get to that level, 4%, that's $2 trillion a year in interest expense alone on a $50 trillion debt. If we have an 8% interest rate, which isn't crazy, right? Historically speaking, on a $50 trillion debt level, that's $4 trillion alone. That is way more than the U.S. government brings in total in tax rate. I mean, it's absolutely crazy what is happening out there right now. It's going to be wild. So as we're in this battle right now, the battle with the silver price to stay above 30, the battle with the gold price to stay above 2,600, we may temporarily lose a few of the battles, but the war, the long-term outlook for silver and gold remains so optimistic. I want to say thank you to channel sponsor First Mining Gold, Canadian gold developer with 2 multi-million ounce projects in Canada, and Fortuna Mining. They're a producing gold and silver mining company, gold and silver in Latin America, and a lot of gold in West Africa. You can learn about both the mining companies and Pimbex at their respective websites. I'll put a link to that in the description of this video. It's very important for us to remember just how crazy and how fantasy of a world we are living in right now. Okay. The Fed, the FOMC meeting notes coming out, the CPI inflation numbers that'll come out tomorrow. It's all a bunch of fantasy at this point. It's like people arguing on the deck of the Titanic as it was sinking, right? The reality is that things are changing right in front of us right now. Look, I could be wrong. Maybe 20 years from now, I'll be sitting down here eating crow, and I'll gladly do that. It would actually be nice. I'm an American. I love this country. I love what our founding fathers set out for us. But boy, when I look at the facts and figures of what's going on, it gets to be a bit alarming. One thing for sure, we'll get through it. We'll get through it together. Thank you for being here, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.